joining us on this Friday edition. Giant news blitz coming up in the next segment on key information. First off, Jake in Oregon, you're on the air worldwide. Welcome.
The guy kind of put the can down and he's like, all right, like he didn't really go.
I don't think Jake knows he's on air. His girlfriend or wife's talking. Hey, Jake, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I got two questions. I wanted to ask about the kid who was talking about President Obama and he got in trouble, and the teachers are acting like he doesn't have a First Amendment right.
Well, she said you can be arrested for that. Yes.
Whatever happened there? Did the teacher lose her job?
Well, first they said it wasn't real, as they always do. You know, the tanks ramming the church, burning it down. We're not attacking, not an assault. The TSA doesn't grope you. We don't strip search old ladies. There's no radiation. We're stopping. But first they said it didn't exist. Then they said, yes, it's real. We're suspending her. But separately, they're trying to segue with laws where you don't have free speech. And in Australia, you get a 1.1 million Australian fine if you criticize the carbon tax. That's coming up.
And another thing is I'm having trouble waking people up, you know. I'm a young activist myself, and people treat me, you know, because I'm only 15 years old, and they act like I know nothing. So I was wondering, can you help me out with that? How can I wake more people up?
Yes, sir?
I said I'm only 15
I'm not ignoring
years
you.
old.
What happens is there's a steady stream of people bringing me articles and giving me info while I'm talking to callers. So I just missed like 5 seconds of what you said.
What I said was I'm only 15 years old, and people act like I know nothing about the truth movement and about the TSA and the New World Order. And I was wondering how I could wake more people up because people treat me like I know nothing.
Well, I mean, they treat each other like that because they think it's threatening for you to act like that you know the earth is round. They think it's flat. I would make copies of Obama Deception, Fall the Republic. I would hand out photocopies of Infowars.com articles. And then when the school tries to censor you, you call the newspapers and make YouTube videos and make a giant deal out of it. And suddenly you'll be the coolest person in the school. And you'll defeat the enemy. You must use every opportunity and their own persecution against them. Record them, you know, saying, like Al Gore said, kids, go boss your parents around. Tell them carbon taxes are good. Well, people recorded that and slammed Al Gore. Show their evil. Engage them. See, when we engage the enemy, they attack. We're like, oh, they're attacking. Good. We get stronger, they get weaker. Notice the enemy never stops attacking. They're weaker, but they know they've got to keep attacking like a honey badger. Well, we're like a honey badger 10 times bigger than them. We will crush them. We're like a Wolverine. Ever seen a Wolverine beat up a mountain lion 3 times its size? It's because it's so fast, so dedicated, and so fearless. And it grabs around the wildcat. Even it does it with bears. It gets up underneath them, grabs them around the neck, and bites them on the snout. And so it's absolute tenacity. We're right. You're scum. You're filth. We have the moral authority. Notice it's always how the government has the moral authority and how they're good and they care about us. Get aggressive in the info war. Get aggressive in the info war. Get aggressive in the info war. And what you do over and over again begins to magnify the power. Go hand out one-page brochures about liberty. They're cheap to photocopy. You know, trifold them. Go hand them out every Sunday morning for a year. Rain or snow, there'll be news articles about you. Then you can start an organization. Then you'll be a leader. They will admire you once you've proven you're a leader. In the beginning, a patriot is a scarce man, hated, feared, and scorned. But in time, when his cause succeeds, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Be that trailblazer today, my friend. Go forth, Jake in Oregon, and defeat the New World Order with the weapon of truth and the First Amendment. We've also got a little lower third animation that Marcos Morales, one of our great graphics people, put together. If you're watching us at prisonplanet.tv, probably 95% of folks are listening to us on XM 166 and over 100 wonderful, brave AM and FM affiliates out there, or over the audio streams. But if you go up to the prisonplanet.tv, there's a 15-day free trial. You can watch the whole 3-hour radio show, see the nightly news, and support the First Amendment. Each membership to prisonplanet.tv is really 6 memberships. Now, create a username and passcode, and we tell you this, that isn't to your bank or to whatever, or you better trust those you give it to. Just make up a username and passcode, 15 cents a day, $5.95 a month, or go get a 15-day free trial membership that we've got going, and then 6 people can be logged in simultaneously with the same username and passcode. That's the number under our old system that it wouldn't crash the servers if everybody logged on at the same time with it. We've gotten our bandwidth cheaper now and better, and we have a better system. And so prisonplanet.tv, knock on wood, is really never slow anymore. We're getting better and better, so I'm tempted to turn it up to 10 people per membership. But is that pearls before swine? Go get a membership, or if you have one, send your username and passcode to a couple friends and family and tell them tune in to the radio show. They can watch it. But they can also get the commercial-free podcast. By the way, folks, it's supposed to be a commercial-free podcast for the radio show every day, and we had folks in here that every once in a while forgot and didn't cut all the commercials out. You complained, and someone is no longer with us here anymore. So you complained, and we appreciate that, and they were unable to stop leaving the commercials in, so they're bye-bye. And the only reason I raise that and bring that up is we do listen to you. We're trying to get better. But just remember, we do everything the best we can. We're not some big monolithic operation. I get emails that were sent to the crew sometimes that say, I've sent you emails and you don't respond. I can't even hardly go see my grandmother once a month. I used to go see her every week. She lives here in town. I'm just letting you know. People go, well, this politician sends me an email back. It's a fake one from their staff. And do people really want a fake auto-respond like it's from me? I mean, do you really want that? Because when I send out a message to people, you know, I go write it and then they send it out in a mass email. Like when you're on InfoWars Insider, you do get occasional messages I actually write. When you, uh-oh, the graphic's already on screen. Oh, my gosh. We're still going to play it coming up at the next break because I had some special things I wanted to say about Janet Napolitano. You know, I was out at Steiner Ranch this week doing the latest installment that is incredible of Brothers in Arms and our new gun show we're doing. Might be every 2 weeks, might be every month, in the future every week. We're just developing it right now. My idea of a gun show. And if you think the last episode was powerful at prisonplanet.tv, wait till you see the next one. But we actually saw real dung beetles. I don't usually see those out on our ranch that we've got in East Texas, but these are big dung beetles rolling dung around. We got some high-def video of Janet Napolitano. But I told Marcos a month or so ago, I said, I want a graphic like they have on History Channel where the bug for prisonplanet.tv or InfoWars does something funny. Why don't we have Janet Napolitano laying eggs that turn into little TSA goblins? Well, he came up with this. Go ahead and roll it again, please. It is theater of the mind. Describe it for people who are listening on the radio. She is a little red dinosaur, and she comes out and lays an egg that is a TSA bat boy that flies off, and then a hammer falls down and crushes the Napolitano goblin. No affiliation with the real Janet puppet. New World Order Napolitano. We wish her a long and healthy life, but nice little thing he added there with the hammer. So he'll get the Secret Service visit. I'm just joking. It's a joke. Anyways, so there you go. That's one of the funny little things we have now. Let me get into the news. You know, I always realize I'm procrastinating on some of the news because this is really painful stuff. And I read this last night and this morning and then again when I came in. And by the third or fourth looking at it, I'm like, wow. And people who think I want to make the government look bad, you got it wrong, okay? There's so much of this stuff that I can't even keep track of it, and it's all so horrible. I don't have words to really get it down, okay? So let me just go ahead and try to get into all this. Let me just go ahead and begin with the economy stack, just part of it. I actually have 2 stacks on the economy. Here it is. Google trends. Fear of bank runs hits all-time high for Americans. Concern over economic crisis outstrips Lehman Brothers aftermath. And Paul Watson, in this article at Infowars.com and prisonplanet.tv, and Infowars.net, one of our auxiliary backups, if they take down the other sites, I should add. He shows the concern over Lehman Brothers and huge meltdowns being bigger in U.S. searches, and it's gotten Google Analytics that you can look at, too. It's public. All the numbers. This outstrips the '08 plunge and panic. It outstrips everything. It outstrips all the big crises by a pretty dramatic figure. In fact, I can show you the graph right here if you're watching on TV. There is current concern over bank runs, the highest it's ever been, going back since 2004. That article is at the bottom of featured news section at Infowars.com. Might want to get that out to everybody. According to the latest figures out of Google Trends, Americans have been searching for the term bank run in record numbers. Yeah, I've talked to people at the bank. I was getting some cash out, and so was my wife, and they're like, wow, everybody's getting cash out. Well, let me see if we've got $2,000. So it's pretty serious. The search volume index on Google for bank run in the United States region peaked at an all-time record level May 13th and has hovered around this high ever since. Yeah, it is just turbo charging right there. Go read the whole article. Speaking of that, Zero Hedge has links to The Guardian and other papers. Police urging Greeks to stop stuffing mattresses. We have spent a considerable amount of time in the week or two explaining why depositor withdrawals or bank runs are the death knell for the euro experiment. We first described the runs on banks and governments. Zero Hedge is just spot on. It's a bunch of big multimillionaire stockbrokers who remain anonymous. Every poster on there is called Tyler Durgan. You know, I'm told they're listeners, but I can't ever get them on. Side issue, though. Let's continue. On the basis of the potential for overnight loss of fundability back in December, but the escalation last week in Greece and the contagion in Spain signals things shifting to 11 on the amplifier of Euro fail. That's a little Spinal Tap comment, or so I have read. This evening brings new information from The Guardian that police are urging Greeks to keep their money in bank accounts rather than putting it at risk of theft amid further uncertainty about whether the austerity-struck country will remain in the Eurozone. And it goes on, quoting Reuters and The Guardian and others. Many people have withdrawn their money from banks fearing a financial crash, and they either carry it in on them, find a hideout, a home, or in storage rooms. We urge people to trust the banking system, trust the Titanic, everything's fine, light a cigar, leave their money there, or at least in a safe place, not hide it at the home. Well, cash can be devalued too. I don't have very much cash. I don't have very much anything. I just have paid off my debts and got a bunch of hillbilly family. So that's my, and anybody coming in my house is going to be attacked by the bull mastiff. I didn't mention that dog. And the firearms. But that's if you can make it through the barbed wire. But, and again, it's not because I'm living in fear. It's because I'm ready. I'm ready. And if my wife doesn't shoot you, my 9-year-old son will. Let's continue here. Big European funds dump euro assets. That's the Financial Times today. So there you go. The globalists are gutting the euro, but they'll demand giant tax increases to save it, which will then be more they'll steal. Then they'll continue to implode it. Then they'll steal even more, holding everyone hostage, posing as saviors with whore media telling you how great they are. That's going to be the plan. Some of Europe's biggest fund managers have confirmed they're dumping euro assets amid rising fears over a possible Greek exit from the eurozone in a single currency turmoil. The euro's sudden fall this month caught many investors by surprise. Europe's single currency has lost 5% in the past 3 weeks after barely moving against the dollar for much of the year. And it just goes on to break all of that down. Real federal deficit dwarfs official tally. And it's bigger than Europe's. USA Today actually reports the truth for once. And it goes over to say that it is a lot bigger than the slaves have been told. Of course, they don't tell you that it's 600+ trillion that they claim we owe. It's not our debt, but the bankers had the crooks sign us onto it. It's a couple million per person. impossible to pay, and it doesn't really matter because they got 30,000 drones and SWAT teams that are ready to eat their mother's guts and ask for seconds because following orders is tough. Drinking fluoride and using DUs, tough too. Going in that pine box is real tough too. Government loves you. Enforcers, don't they? Yeah, they love you a lot. Here's another one. Euro, again, falls between $1.25. So that's why the dollar's up. But it's like their ship's sinking so fast that ours isn't sinking as fast. So people are like, yay. Number of high school students with job hits 20-year low. Washington Times. Well, Obama just says go out and start a company. It's no big deal. Of course, you can't because they're increasing the power prices, shutting off the street lights, and can't make it to work because you can't pay for the gas. Even if you could, you can't pay for all the insurance and stickers, and the cops are going to catch you. If you're an illegal alien, you're above the law, and they let you go on record, but that's okay. Pentagon contractor admits engaging in dirty tricks against journalists. Big article there where one of the biggest groups out there publicly admits they go after people, including Americans. You don't talk bad about them. And that's what's up next. Australia banning free speech. This is a big deal. This, look right there.
A little over a year ago,
for more than 6 years, I've talked on the air about creating a social network. PlanetInfoWars.com is in its beta phase. We're just launching it. And I want to invite all of you out there to be in on the ground level. Planet InfoWars is about people coming together, forming activist organizations, getting involved politically, hunting and fishing, gardening, dating. This is a place for people who love freedom to meet and to talk and to write and to post information. And I give you this pledge. We are not going to spy on you and sell your data to the New World Order. PlanetInfoWars.com is free, so people who love freedom can get together, connect with people who are awake and know what we're facing. Be active, organize, take action, go viral, create, contribute, resist, because resistance is victory. You are victory. It's waiting for you to breathe power into it. PlanetInfoWars.com. Here is the Janet Napolitano laying a little TSA goblin egg graphic with something added to it. So here is that, and I'll go back into the news and your phone calls.
I make big bucks, stop. Stop
Oh, man. We are definitely out of control. You know, this is like gallows humor here, though. I mean, this is a hardcore show, but we do screw around a little bit because if you didn't, it would make you cry. There she is laying a pedophile egg so it can hatch out and she can waive the background check, and a priest defrocked for reportedly abusing 3 little girls, CBS News reports, can then be the commander of Terminals D and E and use his security badge to have the media thrown out. We're here to discuss the fact that you were defrocked for sexually abusing reportedly 11-year-old and other girls. I'm in command, get out of here. I mean, the video's up at Infowars.com in our article linking over to CBS. TSA hired accused sex abuse priest, pedophile, as screener. It said reported earlier. Why is it now changed to accused? Reported. My head's spinning. Now it's suddenly changed to reported. Okay, let's see what it is on Infowars.com right now. Anyways, that article is up at Infowars.com. And I mean, I see these every couple of days now. And most of them I don't even cover it. It's like another one caught with a bunch of child porn. Another one caught raping their neighbor's 5-year-old. Well, who else wants to do that? Who else wants to humiliate and scream at people for too big a shampoo bottle? Or even if it isn't too big? Amazing. Absolutely off the charts. Amazing. All right, this even blows me away. I remember 3 years ago, headlines in the Australian news, and they reported it with a straight face like it was good. Australia to adopt Chinese-style net censorship. And it said, criticism of the government will no longer be allowed. Criticism of carbon tax. And I was reading this, and it said, you will have an internet ID that Bilderberg's calling for, by the way, worldwide right now. You'll have an internet ID, and if you do any of this, you'll be permanently banned from the internet, which nowadays you can't even basically live without in most business. And if you are trying to go to a rural area, the green police are coming and shutting you down. And there's our article at Infowars.com. But scroll down if people think I'm joking. Click on the first link. It's to the Daily Telegraph. And we'll show you their headline on this. Don't serve carbon lies, ACCC warns. Shops and restaurants could face fines up to $1.1 million if waiters or sales staff wrongly blame the carbon tax for price rises or exaggerate the impact. Oh, see, well, we don't let you lie. There's no court. We just come and the government says you don't blame the fact that they're reportedly going to double the price of beef and lamb because they are putting a 50% tax on the land itself being used if you have sheep on it. That's been on the Australian news. People doing hunger strikes, you name it. They're announcing the fish is going to have a huge tax on it, of at least 50%. Folks, if there's a 50% tax on the landowner, it's going to go right down the line. It's going to be way over 50%. And it all goes into global carbon trading. I mean, this is so evil. Now if you fly to Europe, no matter where you fly from, they put huge taxes on carbon paid to the Rothschilds. People won't believe that. Type in Rothschilds run carbon trading system, click web, but it'll be about a year old. It's like BBC, Associated Press. The Rothschilds. You pay your money. Enron helped set it up. To the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all the usual suspects. And they're telling them, if you complain, and they admit it is going to increase the price, we're going to fine you 1.1 mil Australian. Praised by Barack Obama as a model for the world, Australia's highly unpopular carbon tax, set to take effect from July 1st, is set to be policed by laws which forbid business owners from criticizing it for causing prices to rise, with thought criminals who do so under threat of being hit with huge fines over $1 million. There you go. Shops and restaurants will face $1.1 million if waiters, this is a quote, or sales staff wrongly blame the carbon tax for price rises or exaggerate the impact. Oh, the government says you don't exaggerate now. I mean, that's Soviet Union. That's it. And I've got more quotes than your calls. Couldn't do this without you, the listeners and supporters, and InfoWarriors couldn't do it without the incredible crew, all of them totally dedicated at InfoWars.com. So, draconian attacks on free speech come to Australia, and it's in the Australian papers like, yeah, if you exaggerate the price increases, it's only 50%. And there's quotes, if you say it's increasing prices or exaggerate the increase, we're going to fine you. No judge, no jury. 2 Australian governments have fallen in the last, 5 years, trying to ram this through. And the bankers are like, I don't care, you'll be paid off, ram it through. And I've seen Australian TV shows on YouTube where it's like, we're the green police, the green audit time. We come to your house and we give you fines. I'm not joking. I actually sing like that. It's like, hi, we're here without a warrant to come to your house. Yeah, we're trendy. The president's like, thanks a lot for coming in. This toilet's bad, but it's with an Australian voice. You got to see it. I can't really do a ninny Australia. Hey, mate, how you doing there? So, like, how do you do an Australian accent, but then do it in the trendy voice? All right, it's now time for us to take your property. That's more of a weird Cockney accent. I can't even do it. I just can't do it. I cannot do a simpering Aussie bureaucrat. The voice doesn't really lend itself to that, but they've all got the same little demon eyes. They look real weak and pathetic. It's armies of nobodies who would be outcast, who get in big gangs together and take over. That's government. They love little uniforms and outfits and festooning hats and running around all importantly. They're like children playing make-believe. It's like when my 4-year-old dresses up as a princess. But she's 4, that's okay. But you're not supposed to as an adult. Australia, you'll always still be scum, though. That doesn't mean everybody that wants to go into public service is bad. A lot of people have a need, a duty, it's family, it's good. That's the old system. But when government swells and gets big, it always looks like this. And I've been to third world countries. I've seen the look of crazed thugs in uniforms, and it's here now. The Green Police. You know, you see those Audi ads from 3 years ago? And I told you that's exactly how they dress and what they do in Europe. And then later, the makers of it admitted they're based in San Francisco. They said, oh, this was to condition you. And the mayor of San Francisco came out and agreed in the San Francisco Chronicle and said, this is what we really plan to do. Arrest you if your hot tub is using too much energy. Arrest you if you have the wrong light bulbs. We're going to arrest you. Yes. And under the federal laws, they couldn't pass, but Obama's implementing the whole carbon regime. They come in your house without warrants. They come on your property. And people all over the nation are now seeing federal green police show up with machine guns and shotguns, and they tell you you're trash. And if you got a problem, they're ready to call in air support. It's their country now. Let me get back to Australia, where half the farmland and ranch land has been laid off limits by a law, half of it. Or they say you can pay for the use. They say... And then you're like, well, okay, people just use the half and then not. No. It's just it's a tax on every piece of land, no matter what you use. You can officially hand it over to them, or you're going to pay for it. It's loving and liberal for the earth, though. The GMO, though, is expanding. It's not a problem. Fukushima's not a problem. According to the ACC Deputy Chairman Michael Schapper, the warning applies to comments made by staff over the phone, because they're listening, on the shop floor or in meetings. Your comments are being watched. Keep your mouth shut, boy. It also covers advertising, product labels, websites, invoices, contracts, and contract negotiations. You know, that's why the Federal Reserve, since the 50s, takes your money out of your paycheck for most people, and make the employer spy on you and get all the files, or whoever you do business with, you've got to get paperwork from them and watch them, all as little informants. Totally illegal, totally unconstitutional, indentured servitude, list goes on and on. Incriminating yourself, because there's no way to follow it, because the law is written where the big guys are exempt, but if you try that, you go to jail. And they take your money out that way, and they told employers then, don't call this an income tax, call it a war tax. It started in World War II. They already had it on the books, but they didn't implement it until World War II. So that's all the craziness that's going on there. And imagine, you don't talk. You don't explain to people why their power bill just went up. You don't explain why their food bill, why their gas bill, why every bill went up. Do you understand us? You keep your mouth shut. Australians en masse should come out and say no to this. And I tell you, Australians, you know, nice, friendly. They kind of have the old, you know, nickname of like being like Texans, real gregarious and friendly, as most frontier people are, till you cross them. But now in the modern age, it's just like, oh, come on, mate, let's just go along with it. And that's just what they do. It's more of an English accent. I need to work on my Australian accent. But that's what it... No! There's nothing they won't stop doing if you don't say no to these crooks. And we've been blocked in Australia on the web a few years ago and found out they were doing some testing of this bureaucratically when they were unable to pass the Chinese-style net censorship. And mark my words, everything they're doing to Australia is coming here, folks. You think that school teacher's the only one saying you'll be arrested if you talk bad about Obama? I have newscasts. By the way, I have asked, I'm not mad, but I know it's in Obama deception. I know it's on the web. Did we find the video in our own archives out of Missouri, and there's other ones, where they're like, talk bad about Obama, be arrested, with the police chief up there in his uniform trying to scare everybody. These are thugs. Now, I've played it on air before, but I'm not kidding. If you forgot that, they've already done this. Al Gore says, go tell your parents what to do. They're racist if they don't want carbon taxes to that fat piece of trash. Excuse me. The draconian measure will be enforced by teams of carbon cops. That's an actual quote. You exhale carbon, folks. They chose this because everything is producing it, so they can control and micromanage everything. Doesn't matter it's all discredited. Doesn't matter it's draconian. Doesn't matter the elites are exempt from it. This is hellish. Who roam the streets conducting snap inspections of businesses to ensure they are not making any references to the tax. Oh, my gosh, these are free speech killing commissars. This is, the headline should be, Australia falls to Soviet-style takeover. I mean, words cannot describe this. The characterization of dissent against the carbon tax as a criminal offense exemplifies how the measure passed last year goes way beyond merely forcing Australia's top 500 companies to pay extra $23.78 per each ton of CO2 emitted. The system will be rolled out in carbon trading system. Not only will Australians be whacked with price rises on everything from energy to food, small business owners will also be intimidated into silence when they are forced to pay out more for key supplies. Energy prices across the country have already skyrocketed over the course of the last year. Ha ha, but don't say it, or we'll come find you and arrest you with carbon cops. And hey, I better not speak out. They've got my GPS front door coordinates with attack drones and now admit that myself and Steve Quell were right 2 years ago talking about that. After the carbon tax bill passed Australia's federal parliament last year, the government set about trying to erase any dissent against the jobs-destroying legislation. That's a quote out of old paper with a link to it. They actually say, "No dissent allowed. We are watching you, scum suckers." I mean, I am entering the vortex right now. I mean, this is bondage. This is off the... Australia used to be the freest country in the Commonwealth, and now it is one of the least free. And England is off the charts, and Canada is a police state. I mean, what will you not put up with, people? You are the culture that created the Magna Carta and the common law that has worked so well in the model of the world, and now look at you. You are back under the control of the banksters and their whore queen and all the rest of it, and I have had enough of it. I have had enough of it, and no, I'm not celebrating the Diamond Jubilee, as you noticed. I don't know what it is about women. They just love royalty. I mean, it's like a joke. I mean, Moncton's a really nice guy, and, you know, he's a hereditary peer and all that stuff. Nice guy. I like him because he's a patriot for his country. And I understand people that like the thing because they're like, well, it's anti-globalist, and they want to, and some globalists want to get rid of that. I get that the monarchy is almost vestigial to the globalists, and they will get rid of it. But, you know, my whole deal is I was making jokes while Moncton was here doing curtsies to him. And going, Guys, did I do the curtsies or not? I did the curtsies. Oh, look, it's the Diamond Jubilee. Look, I'm already digressing. The point is, these people are Tyrannus Maximus, or the maximum piece of trash tyrants. And their government in Australia is a criminal group. Look at England banning self-defense trainers from coming in to their country. Mainline, law-abiding trainers, people that train the Navy SEALs, people that train British soldiers, not allowed to train people to defend themselves. Every day I read where they knife some guy in front of his kids for fun. I mean, I'm going to tell you, the Brits have been so domesticated, they're helpless now. And it's the foreign thugs, whether they're white Eastern Europeans or Middle Easterners or Africans who come from really rough places, they just walk right up on these videos and start punching people, and the men just fall down in front of their families and go, "Oh, no, don't reach me. Oh, no, please. Oh, no. Ah, ah." And the women go, "Ah, ah." And if the woman hits them with an umbrella, the police savagely grab them. That's on the news. I get emails about this, too, about in Northern Europe. If you are in your house being raped and you defend yourself, maximum prison sentence. Maximum. Because the criminals run the government. I'm ranting, aren't I? So ridiculous. Oh, my gosh, this is incredible. Australians face huge fines for speaking ill of carbon tax. It's all happening. It's all going to happen. And, you know, that's the end of the road when the cops come to arrest you for your speech. I mean, they are lawless Nazis, Soviets, whatever you want to call them, crooks, done. They've confessed they are the whole system a fraud. Russia turns up the nuclear rhetoric. That's Financial Times. We told you about this weeks ago, but the mainstream media is having to report that Putin and Medvedev are threatening to nuke Western Europe if they keep rolling missile systems in and circling Russia. Finally, the dinosaur media thought they'd report on that for you. And the bankers make 40-to-1 bets, and they got bunkers. It might be fun for them to get a nuclear war going. See, you don't get how dangerous these globalists are. Their little minions just want to molest your children at the airport, and they let known sexual abusers be the commanders. And you love it. It's in fact, the new flag of America, our new mainline listeners love it. Should be, I guess, a TSA agent hurting a child. I mean, because that's what we are. I mean, why not be proud of it? We can all hang them out, made in China, and cry. And go to parades. Like maybe have a national sporting event where the TSA, abuses men, women, children, and we all cheer them and say, oh, we're so proud of what you do to our children. Thank you for keeping us safe. Operators admit Fukushima radiation levels 2.5 times what they publicly announced. That's Infowars.com with links to the official Tokyo Electric. So there you have it. And, of course, the environmentalists say arrest those of us that criticize man-made global warming or fighting other programs. So this is just part of their authoritarian move. While the real environment is in deep trouble and the genetic code of the planet's being rewritten by a bunch of transhumanists who just say, oh, it's evolution, we'll do whatever we want, humankind's over, we're going to merge with machines and live forever. Really, the original eugenicist in the 1850s, for 5 generations, interbred 5 families. The scientific elite under British government funding, the Wedgwoods, the Huxleys, the Darwins, the Galtons, there's one other. And they had over 90% of their children born totally mentally retarded, deformed, or stillborn. And the 10% that did survive or less were highly intelligent but had absolute congenital medical problems and deformities. And then they all became the leaders of the eugenics movement, founding UNESCO, UN, everything, running around, slaughtering everyone worldwide, and writing books and getting Nobel Prizes for it. And go read their books. It's all how they'd set this up and poison the food and water and kill us and do it so slowly we couldn't resist and everything. And I'm just supposed to be all for it or I'm not trending. Oh, I got stacks of other news, but let's just go ahead and take a few phone calls here. Let's go ahead and talk to Nick in New Jersey. Nick, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex, how you doing on this wonderful tyranny-filled afternoon?
Well, I mean, we need to give $1.1 million fines and arrest people that that say the carbon tax increases prices, which they admit it does. I mean, you don't have free speech in Australia.
Oh, no, and, we got our Americans getting zuckered all over the place.
Oh,
here,
we told you it wasn't worth $100 billion, wasn't worth $10 billion. We told you it was already on the way out, already declining. A lot of analysts had said that. We told you you'd be ripped off by him. We're conspiracy theorists. Now they totally ripped everybody off. Turns out he insider traded, but that's fine with all them. He's allowed to. He's like MF Global head, John Corzine.
I just can't believe how everybody gets suckered in by that. Facebook is such the coolest thing on the planet.
Well, they like
right
it.
Now.
It's cool to take your children up to the TSA so they can gang rape them.
That's what I was calling about, actually. I have a question, maybe search a little bit of advice for me and all your listeners. Now that these TSA agents will be harassing us on the streets and at our bus stops and whatnot, I have a question. I'm wondering if, since they are not sworn and bonded officers, do we have the right as Americans to refuse them to show them ID or let us search our bags?
Yes, but they have force de jure or force. Is it force de jure or force? I always get my French mixed up, but it means the overpowering force. Bank robbers that come in with machine guns and say, get on the ground or I'm going to splatter your brains, they are illegally doing something. But they're in control by the overpowering force or force.
Because they have the gun.
Force de jure. That's what tyranny is. And so the feds were able to get the beachhead of, just some people that aren't really cops are going to violate your Fourth Amendment, but just at the airport. Yeah, it's for your safety. Next, we're going to take your shoes off, take your belt off. Next, we're going to yell at you. Now we're going to body scan you and touch you. Now we're going to touch you and body scan. Now we're going to put you in a closed room and strip search you. Now we're going to scream at you. Now we're going to do a chest x-ray. Now we're going to be on street corners. Now we're going to be at your house. Now we're going to be everywhere. Now we're going to be at your school prom. Now we're going to be. So it's totally illegal on the books. I've had prosecutors, state reps, congressmen on. It's illegal. But they've got cops that when the congressman says, you're hurting my genitals, they go, officer. The officer comes over and says, you'll be ejected right now and fined if you don't let him. And the congressman goes, all right. And it's the state's exercise of power. And they're like, that's right. And now we're going to hire pedophiles. There's nothing they're going to do about it. And if you speak out against the carbon taxes, you go into jail. How's that sound? That sound like freedom?
Oh, that sounds awesome. The cops and the TSA agents are high-fiving each other, going to go have a soda around the corner after they harass us and play with my genitals a little bit, right?
Yes, sir, and it's force majeure. I always get it. Well, what's force de jure, then? I know there's 2 different laws. It's like nom de plume is a pen name. Nom de guerre is your war name. Like they'd call a famous football player, the Crusher or something like that. There it is, force majeure, superior overpowering force, an unexpected or uncomfortable event. Anything else, sir?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate everything you're doing out there. Long-time listener, and keep it going.
Well, I appreciate you. That guy was an extremist. He doesn't like people operating as police officers who aren't sworn and bonded under the Constitution, and he doesn't like them doing things that are legal for police to do and the feds out of their jurisdiction. I mean, you know, he's a bad man. Students will be tracked via ID chips in their IDs in Texas. That's mysanantonio.com. That's the San Antonio Express News, radio, frequency identification systems. People didn't used to like that to wear tags around their necks. Now you're going to wear chips. That's already in your driver's license. It's in everything. It's just total control. And the drones track it, and you're the enemy, and Homeland Security says they're going to turn it off. You're not going to buy, sell, trade, or have a job. If they say they're announcing without laws, they're going to ban the Second Amendment for whoever they feel like. They're just lawless crooks. And believe me, they're putting this in because they're getting ready to totally turn the economy off by design. See, all you people that love tyranny, I hope you love poverty. And so many of you that love this system, you're going to get chewed up by it big time. I can't tell you how many articles I see where cops kill police officers' children in cold blood, beat them to death, shoot them, whatever. It's just all going to come back on you. The bureaucrats, all of you, everything you want, you're going to get. Unless we repent and turn back to God. And this is not even a religious show. I'm a Christian. My point is that's the solution, is really getting ourselves together. I know I've got problems. I know I'm not perfect. I know I do bad things. But my heart is good. I want to be right. I want to change things. I want to turn things around. We've got to reach everybody. That's why I've set up planetinfowars.com. A social network for liberty, to get people together, to become the ultimate activist network. It's there. It's working well. We're adding more features. Give us your feedback, planetinfowars.com. Take action, planetinfowars.com. Lee in Florida, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call, Alex. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
I am a 70-year-old lady that... I live right across the bridge from Tampa, Florida. And it is disgusting to see how they reacted with this so-called bogus training yesterday.
Oh, yeah, it was like a bunch of boats, helicopters, explosions, checkpoints, just a total invasion, parachutes coming in. Tell us what you saw.
It was absolutely ridiculous. I live across the bridge. And I didn't go because I knew what it was. I come from a long line of military people that every one of my male relatives have served in military service, Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force. And trust me, they're all deceased now. My son was murdered 2 years ago. And it's absolutely heartbreaking to see the country they fought for turning the way it has. But it is, like they said, I've been doing my part. Like I said, I've been quite ill. I won't go into the details, but I'm on my last leg, but I still get out, and the only place I go is the doctor, the pharmacy, the grocery store. That's it. But I've gone all over my neighborhood and passed out. I make up a little list of about 6 websites. You're on top. And, of course, people you've had on there that you've given their websites. And then I put that with a printout of the Army manual where it says that, I highlight where it says they pick us up with our Social Security number. And then I print out the enemies list.
Stay there, ma'am. This is very, very touching. We were just talking to a lady in Florida, Lee. She says she's on her last leg, old and ill, but she's out there handing out Infowars.com little printouts and handing out the official admitted Army document about rounding up Americans, political dissidents, according to their Social Security numbers. They're announcing they're going to give you $1.1 million fines or arrest you if you criticize the carbon taxes in Australia. It's happening everywhere. This is tyranny. They're saying if you don't agree with Al Gore, you should be arrested here in the U.S. This is here. These people mean business. They're criminal, and they're not going to stop. and they have the police and military working for them. And we've got to reach out to police and military. A lot of them are waking up. Ma'am, finish your story.
Yes, I have a very good friend that's 82 years old, and she lived through Germany when it was going on with Hitler. She knows what it's all about. She's 82, and she is putting out the same material I am. And I have to tell you, I'm finally having some results because my doctor and my heart doctor, my GP and my heart doctor, both, I took the information to them. They were not totally in the dark, but had no idea of the information you give out. And that I scored there because they are passing it out to everyone. My heart doctor is Cuban. His family had moved to Puerto Rico. He knows what it is, and so does Dr. Perez. And I'm finally, everyone in his office wanted the information.
Yeah, well, no, the Cubans you'll actually find are ready to wake up because they've already lived under it. They know what a Chavano on every corner is. They know what this is, but other people don't. I'm getting chills right now. I can't believe this country's going to literal Hades in a handbasket right in front of us.
I gave it to them, I scored, and also I give it out to everyone in the pharmacy and at the grocery store. I stand there when I get my groceries. I take them and pass them out there, so no matter how old you are or what your situation is.
Are you kidding? Sweet little ladies like you are the ultimate weapon.
Oh, yes, I've got a couple that's very good friends. One is 72 and lives in the
Well, you know who almost routed the communist threat with McCarthy until he found out the army was running it and then they discredited him. It was ladies like yourself. So don't think, oh, I'm old, little old lady, I don't have any power. You got the power. People listen to you. You need to use it. And you're doing a great job thinking about others when other people would selfishly, you know, if they had a really bad illness, only be thinking, but you know what? A lot of people fight on and actually get better health whenever they're fighting for others. God bless you, sweetheart. We really appreciate what you're doing.
And I've known about this for years. In the 70s, we had Med-Cal right here in the United States. And people just don't realize I have my own little garden in the backyard. It's not much. And I wanted to give you a piece of advice, take it or leave it. They have a new system out called NutriBullet. I got one. And it truly works. It mulches everything into liquid, and if you grow your own food, you can make your own drinks every day. And I'm ordering your
Wait a minute, I've seen those little bullet juicers and wanted to buy them. The infomercial, how the glass is the little thing and you make it.
Oh, I got mine 2 weeks ago, and I talked to my doctor.
I was on vacation, and me and my wife said we were going to get a NutriBullet. This is not a product placement, folks. They're not a sponsor. But I want me a NutriBullet. I'll sell like 5,000 of them right now. They should be a sponsor now. Yeah, I want a NutriBullet. I know people that have those. They said they work really well. God bless you, ma'am. I really appreciate you. That touches my heart. I wish the men out there would do what she's doing. I wish you'd get up out of the sports bar. You still go to the sports bar on Saturday or something, folks, but spend some of your time fighting for the country. Or there's not going to be one left. It's really that simple. InfoWars Nightly News. Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?